I do have a question, and I'm going to say this. What is the deal? Well, before I get here, let me put it like this. I know that every feminist is not this way. I believe that when feminism first came about, it had purpose. It was for good. That's what I think. But somewhere along the line, it's twisted. And with that, my question is, girl, who hurt you? What is up with these feminists being so angry? Why are feminists so angry? Who hurt you? Who broke your heart? Who did not come? Who did not take you to prom? Who did what to you? Who told you were never going to be nothing? Who did you wrong? Who left you? Who abandoned you? Who rejected you? Who went to be with your friend and something happened? Because in my mind, I'm trying to figure out why most feminists are so aggressive and so angry. There's just no reason for it. It's okay to express rights but there's something else that's going on that's very dark and twisted. And this is me speaking as a female. I'm speaking as a female who served and retired from the military. I'm serving as a female who worked with other men in the military. I'm speaking as a female who served in the military, worked with men, women of different races, nationalities, and cultures. I'm speaking as a female who's worked with people who were in the military and were racist. I'm speaking as a woman who's worked in the military, who's been in the military and worked with people who were sexist. I have met a little bit of everybody. That's never met a black person before. This will be in basic training. I've dealt with different people from different walks of life and experienced things in different parts of the world, people of different ages. And I've still not felt the need that I am oppressed and I am less than. And I think it's a very dangerous thing. And it's also sad that women are slowly going into this victimhood thing where all they're focused on is everything that's wrong and everything that's not going right and what they don't have. And I feel that there's a sense of greed and there is this vendetta out for men. This is just me. When I was in the military and I felt that there were things that were not being done right, I would fight for my rights. But one of the things you had to learn in the military was the regulations. You can't go, you have to learn how things work. You don't just go barging in, busting in doors, being aggressive. You're not going to get things done. And that was one of the things I would always tell my soldiers this. Sometimes there will be somebody or a young soldier will come to me and talk to me, and they may have a supervisor that's doing them wrong, and they felt more comfortable talking to me. And one of the things that I would tell them is, yeah, they will express to me what they're feeling. And I said, okay, you can go and you can disrespect that person because, yeah, they're doing wrong or whatever. You can choose to go and disrespect this individual. You can go and curse out your supervisor. That's always your option. You can go and fight your supervisor if that's what you feel like doing. But I want you to understand the minute you do that, you're now going to fall into the hands of the judicial system. Because regardless of what wrong has been done, there are steps and regulations. There are Army, DA pamphlets, all this stuff, regulations, all these things are there to show you how you can handle situations. So if you want to be aggressive, you can do that, but you're going to face the consequences for it. And there may be resistance, but there's still a way that you can handle things. A lot of times people are made to just feel helpless and that you've got to be aggressive. People will think that because a lot of times soldiers will get in the military and they don't sit down and read those regulations. They don't sit there and understand about the wear and appearance of the uniform and all military codes of conduct and all that stuff. They didn't sit there to do that. So when things will happen, they will feel like if they sit with their friends and somebody else, they feel like, well, I'm just going to buck up. Someone is just encouraging them, oh, just go and punch your supervisor in the face, go tell him off, go tell her off. It's easy to incite them because they don't know. And so they feel like I have to be aggressive. And it ends up backfiring on them. Because even if maybe that supervisor was wrong and they were abusing their authority, there was another way to go about things. And believe me, it works. I've had to stand before people. I have had to go up against individuals that were ranks above me when I was still a young soldier in the military. And with that being said, I was able to see people who were not fair, and at the same time, I saw others who were fair and who did do the right thing and who did step in. I did see people who nothing happened to them, and other times things happened. But that did not change my mind to make me think all men are this way and I'm a victim, because there's a balance. I see a balance in the military. I see a balance in society as well. Yes, there's still things that's not completely together, but we are in no way, especially in Western society, anywhere where we used to be. So therefore, this victim mentality that's being embraced, and it's the bad men against us and we against them, this is a very unhealthy mindset. And there's just way too much negative energy and anger. There's too much hostility. And what I find happening is when women are saying that they want equal rights and these feminists are saying that, I don't know if I believe that anymore, because it appears to me that they want to have the right to abuse men. They want to have the right to silence men. They want to have the right to behave however they want to behave. And then men are supposed to remember that they're women when it's convenient, but so they can be emotional and behave in a very nasty way. I'm seeing it too often, ladies, for me to think that that's not what it is. Most feminists that I've seen, I'm sure there's some that are not this way, are extremely nasty. They don't listen. If they're sitting and there's an argument brought before them, they get very sarcastic if they're being proven wrong. If someone is really laying out things in front of them, they get defensive. Rude, crude, disrespectful, ignore the question that's before them and go ranting on something else. And here's the thing. I find that feminists, let me say that in all fairness, when they get angry, if another woman disagrees, they will attack them. Wait a minute, what's that about? I thought this was a voice for everyone. Whether you're a feminist or you're in any organization, any group, whether it's a feminist movement or any other group, any group that attacks people, that tries to silence people, that where there are repercussions if you don't agree, is not good. It's not good. That's a form of communism. That is having a totalitarian mindset. That is a dictatorship. That is the mindset that maybe Kim Jong-un has. The only difference is the consequences, they pretty it up in Western societies. You can't talk about people in China and how they do things and in places where they execute people, because technically that type of behavior is starting to happen in Western society. There's a dictatorship. Number one, censorship is happening. If someone listens to this video and they don't like it, They can go report it and then say, oh, I don't like what you said, and shut you down. That's communism. That is, they take down your video. The only, or take down your, you don't have an opinion. I was hearing someone talking about a student at college who he was having a conversation with his class, and he just felt that there's just only male and female, there are only two genders, and he was heckled and kicked out of class. And because of that, okay, why can't he think how he wants to think? As long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you are not bullying and trying to bring physical bodily harm to anyone or injury, why can't he have that opinion that has been a part of our whole upbringing since the beginning of time? So he was kicked out of the class by the teacher, by the professor. Let's talk about gay and lesbian for a little bit. Gay and lesbian, the LGBTQ. Okay, now you have your rights. They have their rights. But if you think otherwise, no one is allowed to think differently. Now, if you don't follow us and you don't do this and this is going to happen to you, that's what makes something wrong with it. Because once you try to impose on people what was once placed on you, it's wrong. There was a big standoff in the village not too long ago. I can't remember what this standoff was about, but
it wasn't recently. It was a Stonewall riot in 1969. It happened in the village. All right, guys, let's continue.
Gay people were being treated very poorly back in the 70s. The police will had the freedom to go into their establishments and bully them and shame them and all these things. And one day they just had this big standoff in the village. I think it was like a day or two. And the gay community was like, enough is enough. We're not going to be bullied. We're not going to be mistreated. You're not going to just silence us. And this standoff had effect. While they still did not have the rights that they have today, they stopped going in and antagonizing them and bothering them and bullying them and trying to make them, because they're not heterosexual, they were being attacked because they thought differently, they were being attacked for that. But ironically, now that there are rights for the gay and lesbian community, there are lots of them who are now attacking heterosexuals. Oh no, you can't think this. Oh no, you can't have that. Why? So was it about having rights, or was it about, now I want to be in this position to now force you? I want to now impose on you what was imposed on us. You see? And so we have to think anything. We don't have to agree with one another. We don't have to agree with decisions and choices and the mindset. But there's something fundamentally wrong with any group or any movement that say that they're about humanity and about rights and about equality. You can't say rights, human rights and equality and freedom while you censor other people, while you demonize other people. It's not freedom. It's a dictatorship. That's what it is. And so feminism is slowly going into a dictatorship. It's slowly going into somewhat of this thing where we're supposed to hate men and we're going to demonize men, and men need to shrink down and shut up. If they speak up, then they're going to be accused of being misogynist. If they have an opinion, if they correct you, then they're afraid to do that, because now they can be accused of being sexist or harassing. And there are lots of women who are playing on that. I find that highly manipulating. And most of the times when I see feminists talking, I am ashamed as a woman. And I'm a pretty strong one. It's embarrassing because while claiming to be strong and wanting feminism, y'all are too aggressive. You don't have to be aggressive. A lot of times feminists act like the women bosses most females hate to have. Because some women who are in supervisory position or they're bosses or CEOs, they have this chip on their shoulder where they overdo things. They overdo things because they have a chip on their shoulders. And that's how, in my opinion, I believe feminists behave. It's like they have something to prove. Let me give you some examples. I've worked with females in the past where I'm at work, I'm not late, I'm not playing around, I'm doing what I need to do. I'm showing up, I'm supporting, the mission, whatever needs to be done. But this woman is just mean for no reason. You can be polite as a female to her, but she's not. She has a thing to prove. If there's any sort of conflict, she doesn't know how to let go of it. She doesn't know how to process that situation. She has to take it to the next level, maybe not talk to you for days. If a guy has an opinion, she has to counter that, banter it. She's thinking he is trying to make her look bad and don't know how to let go of things. Don't know how to approach things in a healthy manner and just hear, hey, I don't agree, and it's going to be okay. They become emotional. They can create tension at the workplace. They can keep things going. They don't know how to forget the past. They don't know how to take criticism they don't know how to take an opinion without thinking it's criticism. And I feel like it's the same thing with a lot of feminists, because that's what they do when they are faced with certain things. Whether it's a male, normally like if a man is talking to them, they are already in this position to be butthurt and offended and defensive and snippy, and they just go into the spiral that's very much estrogen like. It's this female behavior that I've seen women do that's very catty. And why women are, if someone hears that they have a female boss, they hate it, because very rarely do you find a female that is balanced who's in charge. And it's not because our mind has been brainwashed. I grew up in a house, my mom's strong, my aunt's strong, my cousins, there are my relatives and all that doing well, doing good. So I'm not from no backwoods, nothing against backwoods, but meaning I'm not sheltered and live in a patriotic, a house where there's, it's a patriarchal house, if I said it correctly, and women are subservient and they're this and they're that. There's just a balance. There's a balance, okay? But I'm just seeing this a lot. What's with the hostility, ladies? Why are feminists, they always got that look on their face? Why do you have to act like a tough guy all the time? Why is it that you have to speak a certain way? You get into this kind of voice. What is that? It's like, in my opinion, it appears like you're trying to do something. You're trying to be a man. Get out those man shoes. And you need to just understand that men are stronger. They are stronger. They're built for that. They have purpose. Yes, there are situations and things that need to be addressed. There are things that can still be changed. But you guys appear to just be on this destructive path. We do need men in our society. They do serve a purpose. We're not here to bully them. They don't have breasts like us. They are different. They are stronger. Deal with that. It's the truth. Okay? Yes, there are some women that have more testosterone than some, but they serve a purpose and they're not going anywhere. All right? They're not going anywhere. And while some of you may want to be, you don't need to do this, don't open my door for me, that's fine. But then there are some women that enjoy that. There's some women that appreciate the strength of a man. There's some women who who look up to their fathers and look up to their brothers and look up to men and look up to their husband, and they have an equal exchange. Yes, there's some women that's being mistreated, but you know what? In some countries, they don't want you over there in their business. Sometimes they're used to that. And then there are others, they want to get out of that and they can get that support, and it's good to support them. No worries. But I find too much that feminism is getting into a whole lot of arenas they have no business in. You don't speak for every female. We all don't feel that same way. And you guys are way too angry. I feel like y'all are way too emotional. Y'all are behaving badly. You're making women look bad. You're making women look just like what you're trying to avoid. Like we are always on a period. That's how you look. That we don't know how to, we have to try to prove that we're equal. That's how you look. You carry that vibe that you get when there's a female in charge at the office, that insecure female or that mean boss. You guys carry that, and you all are doing the very thing that you're trying to avoid. You do it with the way that you're approaching this. I feel like, yes, feminism can be a good thing if it goes back to the basics of equality for all. Not this annihilation of family and changing the family dynamics and changing the family nucleus and all this stuff, and men can this and this and this. You know, whatever works in an individual's household and however they want to do it, then that works for them. But this movement is trying to like indoctrinate us and tell us how it should be. And then now men are so afraid to speak up and they're afraid to do this. But I say, men, stand up. I say, men, speak your mind. I say, men, if that female at your job is not doing what she needs to do, you still need to call her out on it. But now we live in a world and society that a woman could just lie on men and just say, oh, he did this. And then his whole life is ruined without proof. So, you know, men are becoming fearful. But I want you to understand that it can backfire if we're raising men and boys that are fearful and men and boys that don't know how to speak up. There's going to come a time when women, you're going to want them to stand up, but they've been emasculated to the point that they don't know what to do. They're carrying behind you saying, save me, save me, save me. Every human being, regardless of race, creed, color, gender, sex, whatever, they are entitled to respect. Dogging men out is just disrespectful, and it is wrong. Doing back to men what they've done over the years is wrong. Don't say you want equality. Say we want revenge. We want blood. We want carnage. That's what you say. Don't say it's about equality. And don't say it's about equality where if a female like me and others don't agree with you, then you want to attack us, then you want to silence us. Because it's not about freedom then, is it? Because am I not a female? But we don't all think the same way. If you find that you're more angry and offended and offensive, you're being defensive about everything, you're offended, you're rude, you're disrespectful, you're crass, you feel like you got to buck up against the men, something is wrong with it. Something is wrong. And a lot of times, in my opinion, this type of energy is coming from somewhere dark. There's bitterness, there's hostility, there are people that wants to prove points. I think there are women that goes into this stuff and they're thinking about an ex and they're remembering what their dad did and they remember who abandoned them and they remember the boyfriend that did this and they're just mad at who got promoted before them and they're upset about who was made partner and not them. They think about all these things and sometimes they just hate in general, and so they go in to get educated and to do these things and they become a supervillain hidden behind a movement. So I think it just needs to be examined, because as a female, it's ugly, and I'm not the only one that thinks that way. Whenever I look at some feminists, all that goes through my mind is, girl, who hurt you? Who did you dirty? Because you have not let go of it. It's shown all over your face and how you speak and how you address these men and how you deal with people who don't agree with you, whether they're male and females. You're that female boss at work that everybody hates to see coming. But now you're in a movement. And I tell you what, a woman who is wicked, evil, jealous, vindictive in power is dangerous. I can tell you about a few in the Bible. I can tell you about Jezebel. I can tell you about Delilah. I can tell you about Herodias. I can tell you about Potiphar's wife. I can tell you about Rebecca, who, I believe it was Rebecca, who helped her son to fool his father. I can tell you about, who else? Cleopatra. I mean, ladies, we can talk about a few things, okay? These are just in the Bible, but in real life, y'all know the deal. I think it's good that you have the ability to stand up and to speak for the good of others and those who are downtrodden, but I find sometimes that facade of justice and right, there's something else in it, and it's normally self. It's normally self-gratification and inciting on and playing on the hurt and pain of women, magnifying everything that's wrong instead of saying, look what's right about this. Okay, we still have some ways to go here, but if you're always hearing about how terrible things are and how bad, that's depression. It's like if somebody, God forbid, was suicidal and you're telling them everything that's bad about them, you will then really talk that person into jumping over a bridge, and that life is not worth living. You can't just constantly be talking about everything that's bad, because everything is not all bad. And it is a way of preying on and taking advantage of and inciting and brainwashing young women and women that are going through things. And what they do is they come together in this blind solidarity, right? Just thinking about their pain and what happened to them and saying, oh, must be what she went through. Not necessarily. So this really needs to be reevaluated, because guys, it's almost, I'm going to say it, feminism is almost coming off as a hate group. Feminism is slowly going into like being a little terrorist. If y'all not careful, that's what it is. It's becoming like a little homegrown hate group, a little homegrown terrorist group, where y'all could say whatever you want to say against men and say things, and you know what? Y'all are playing this role. Like, oh, I can say this, I can call you I heard a woman's use some racist terms, and oh, it was okay. But if that guy said that to her, oh my gosh. The feminist princess of powers will be coming out of the woodwork, making their call in the air, oh, doing all this stuff. It's too much hypocrisy. Why can you say stuff to men, but men can't say it back to you? Come on. That has to stop. It says something about your character. So that's my take on it. Who knows what will happen with this video? That will be another thing. Oh, we don't like what you said. Take it down. That's called dictatorship. That's a communist move. Okay? And some of you, if you had the power, y'all are in prison, people. If you could get away with stuff, you would. People will be talking about these people in these countries, but given the opportunity, oh my goodness, some of y'all would been in prison. People shot them, threw them down in some hole because they're not agreeing with you. And you may say, no, I would never do that, but you would, because when you censor people and when you go against people and when you start to, you set people up against other people, you would do that. You would kill someone. You would imprison a person. The only reason why some people don't do it is because you don't have the power to do it, really, not legally, and get away with it. So let's think about this. I believe this movement was good at the start, but a lot of those in the driver's seat are, in my opinion, bitter, angry, self-driven, and they don't really care about any females. They care about what they want. So, ladies, I would say to any female, oops, is to do what I've done. Is just really sit back. First of all, you need to really understand what feminism is all about and study it. It's not just about rights. Really get a book or and understand what it was in the beginning and what it is now, and then also just watch the behavior of feminists. It's not good to be rude and disrespectful. It's not good to try to shut people up even if you don't agree with them. So anything that's rooted in that, anything that's rooted in censorship, anything that's rooted in taking away someone's right to have an opinion and to have a different point of view, it is not a good organization, no matter how much they try to pretty it up with the words freedom and equality and rights. Those are just words that's covering up the darkness behind it, and you're going to see it in how they treat other people, and not only treat other men or treat men, but how they treat females who don't agree. All right, guys, peace.